Good evening. Donald Trump says it will be up to Europe to provide security guarantees to Ukraine in the event that a peace deal can be reached with Russia. But those security guarantees could scupper a deal that the US president hopes to sign with Ukraine, allowing America's access to Kyiv's mineral resources. Now, Ukraine says it needs the assurance from America before signing any agreement. Well, speaking at the White House in the last hour, the president said it's Europe's problem.
I'm not going to make security guarantees beyond very much. We're going to have Europe do that because it's in, we're talking about Europe as their next door neighbor. But we're going to make sure everything goes well. Peacekeeping is very easy. It's making the deal that's very tough.
Well, it seems that the president was more interested in rare earth rather than security. He said an economic deal with Ukraine would benefit both nations.
Doing very well with Russia, Ukraine. President Zelensky is going to be coming on Friday. That's now confirmed, and we're going to be signing an agreement, which will be a very big agreement. And I want to thank Howard and Scott for the job you guys did in putting it together. Really did an amazing job. And that'll be on rare earth and other things. And as you know, we're in for probably $350 billion. Europe is in for $100 billion. And that's a big difference. So we're in for probably 3 times as much, and yet it's very important to everybody, but Europe's very close. We have a big ocean separating us, so it's very important for Europe, and they hopefully will step up and do maybe more than they're doing, and maybe a lot more.
But President Zelensky, who, as we just heard, is on his way to DC on Friday, seems less enthused about the deal on the table and about the lack of detail on security guarantees.
That's why in this deal there are only basic things about that. Yes, security guarantees and etc. But I think it's not about it. Next steps have to be about it. Without future security guarantees, we will not have really just peace, and we will not have really ceasefire. What Trump spoken about, and if we don't have it, nothing will work. So we will have nothing. Nothing will work, and I know it. That's why I need it. That's why I said that. Okay, I'm ready for basic things, and we are strategic partners and a lot of things. But I want just to understand what will be tomorrow with us, with our families, just to understand. And where are you? So we don't need only only deals about money. Because we are now surviving. That's why my first question is: Will America stop military aid or not? Now, not any actions in freezing, and I'm very thankful to the President Trump and to Congress, bipartisan support, and to people, to the people now. But you understand that tomorrow we will not finish the war because it's Putin.
Right, let's go live now to Washington and bring in our US correspondent, Mark Stone. Mark, great to have you with us. Look, we had sort of 90 minutes at the beginning of that cabinet meeting, didn't we? And there was plenty of talk about Ukraine, about security guarantees and about access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. But are we any clearer as to how that deal is going to be sorted out, other than the fact that Zelensky's on his way to sign something?
No, in a word. Kamali, that was an extraordinary spectacle. I mean, we have seen cabinet meetings of the US presidency over many, many decades, but I don't think anything ever compared to what we just saw there. It felt like an attempt to demonstrate loyalty, whole loyalty to one man. If the US president is supposed to be the head of one of the branches of government in the United States, equal branches of government, well, it didn't feel like it looking at that. It felt like this was, as I say, to demonstrate loyalty among cabinet members for one man who was sitting there at the middle of it all. It was truly a sight to absorb. It felt at times like, when we look in at other governments around the world, the Kremlin, or even perhaps into North Korea, you look to try and work out who's in, who's out, who's truly loyal, who's not, who's comfortable, who's not. And that was kind of the criminology or the White Houseology that we are now facing to try and work out, whether members of that cabinet might be feeling a little uncomfortable, or whether it is true whole loyalty to the presidency of Donald Trump, his way or no other way at all. I noticed at one point that when Donald Trump went around the room and asked whether anyone was unhappy with the way things were going, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, he began to clap, and then the others all clapped alongside, except for one. I noticed that Marco Rubio, sitting on Donald Trump's right, the Secretary of State, a man who has in the past fallen out and not seen eye to eye with Donald Trump, a man whose worldview may be not the America First worldview that his boss holds. He didn't clap. Marco Rubio didn't clap at that point. I thought that was interesting. Am I reading more into that than I should? I just don't know, because it is so hard to tell. There was another person who was literally a shadowy figure in the corner of the frame when the shot was wide and you could see the whole cabinet table, standing on the right of the shot, Elon Musk, wearing his dark MAGA cap, Make America Great Again. He was there, standing, not sitting, because he's not an official member of the cabinet. And at one point, Donald Trump asked the cabinet whether they were all happy with Elon Musk. Have a listen to that.
President Trump put out a Truth Social today saying that everybody in the cabinet was happy with you. I just wondered if you had heard otherwise, and if you had heard anything about members of the cabinet who weren't happy with the way things were going, and if so, what are you doing to address those any dissatisfaction?
Elon, let the cabinet speak just for a second. Is anybody unhappy with Elon? If you are, well, throw him out of here. Is anybody unhappy?
Let me rattle through a few lines that came out of that on a variety of different subjects. First of all, on Taiwan, he was asked, is it your policy that as long as you are president, China will never take Taiwan by force? Some American presidents, perhaps even the last one, Joe Biden, would have had an easy answer to that, and it would have been, yes, they will never take Taiwan by force. President Trump said something different. I never commit on that. I don't want to put myself in that position. And if I said, I certainly wouldn't be saying it to you. Canada and Mexico, remember, massive tariffs due to come into place, delayed for a month, due to come into place on the 1st or 2nd of April. I think if you were to ask the Canadians or the Mexicans, they might think that those tariffs have gone away. No, they haven't, according to Donald Trump. They will be put in place on April the 2nd, so he said. On Afghanistan, fire all the generals who were in charge during the Afghan debacle, so he said, even though those generals were following the orders of the previous president. The European Union, Donald Trump said the European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. Well, as we know, the European Union was actually formed out of the chaos that was World War II to provide a unity in Europe. It was not formed to screw the United States. He was asked whether he thinks Putin is distinct in terms of how he negotiates with him. Well, he said Putin is a smart guy, a cunning guy. What concessions would he give Putin? I won't tell you, he said. And he effectively blamed the war in Ukraine on NATO. You can forget about NATO, he said. That is how the whole thing started. So a revelatory 90 minutes without question.
Say that again. All right, Mark, for now, in DC, thank you.